The Santa Ana Police Department held its inaugural weapons buyback in an effort to take potential dangerous guns off the streets.
From young to old, Hollywood's here. It's your chance to be just as glamorous at the Oscars.
The Harlem Globetrotters were back in town and visited a local school with a special message for kids. All this and much more on this week's Around and About Orange County News. Hello and welcome to this week's edition of Orange County News. I'm Jared Edwards.
And I'm Alejandra Salgado. Welcome to the show.
Santa Ana residents were given an incentive to turn in unwanted weapons. Alejandro Salgado brings us this report.
The issue of gun control has been in the forefront of debate, with the Sandy Hook shooting and most recently the Ladera Ranch shooting that left 4 dead, including the shooter. The city of Santa Ana held its first weapons buyback to deal with gun violence.
We felt it was important to do what we can here in Santa Ana to reduce the guns that are out there in our community.
The buyback was anonymous to encourage more people to turn in their weapons. This portion of Flower Street, in between Civic Center and 6th Street, was a drop-off location for those wanting to surrender their weapons. The drivers were asked to leave their weapons secured in the trunk of their cars. They then approached the first officer, who retrieved the weapon from the vehicle. The officers checked to see if they were operable and unloaded. Once the guns were secure, the participants were sent to the next checkpoint. If they were Santa Ana residents, they were given a gift card worth different amounts depending on the weapon they brought in.
$100 gift card for a shotgun, rifle, or handgun, and a $200 gift card for an assault rifle. And our sponsors on this have been Target, Walmart, Northgate Market, Stater Brothers.
However, there are people who criticize these buybacks because they say they do not decrease gun violence.
We understand in terms of a long-term strategy, this is not. And then we know this doesn't solve gun violence in the long term, but what it allows us to do is to make sure that the specific guns that are turned in are not used in a crime.
One resident who brought in her weapon to the buyback believes there has to be a change in laws for those who can access them.
Well, I feel that the laws need to be more restricted and people should not be buying guns, just any people. There should be more restricted laws.
In total, 237 guns were collected. Most of the weapons collected were rifles, but there were a few handguns and assault rifles turned in too. The guns will be inspected to see if they were used in a previous crime, or if they are stolen, they will be returned to the owner. The remaining guns will be destroyed. Reporting in Santa Ana for Around and About Orange County News, Alejandra Salgado.
Over 150 weapons were turned in the first hour alone. Lifeguards pulled the body of a deceased elderly man washed up near the 40th Street jetty on Sunday at 2:30 p.m. The local coroner's office has not yet identified the body, as it plans to conduct an autopsy sometime this week. When asking the harbor officials, they reported that there were no missing body person reports from any of the coastal cities.
The price at the pump continues to rise, affecting many budgets. Mara Rosales has the details.
On a daily basis, drivers are often faced with inconveniences, such as traffic jam, freeway congestions, and accidents. But one of the inconveniences that drivers feel isn't behind the wheel, but in their pocketbooks, as the price at the pump increases. Since January 20th, 2013, the prices at the pump have significantly increased, averaging $3.69, and in California, the price is much higher. We went around to different gas stations in the OC and asked people how the gas is affecting their budget, and this is what they had to say.
For me, I just like to go around the area and look for cheapest gas prices ever, because I really don't want to spend too much. Even if it's 10 cents difference, I kind of want to look for the cheapest price ever.
In many of the places we visited, the lines were packed as people tried to fill their tanks before the price increased again. Ruth Chambers is another person affected by the gas prices, and she gave us her opinion as to why the prices keep going up.
Every time the weather gets warm, the gas prices go up. And then in the winter it goes down, then we haul a day up, it goes again, and that's the station owners that do that.
After we interviewed Ruth, we found an interesting bit of information, and that is that the gas price was $1.86 during President Obama's first day being president in 2008. Clearly nowhere near the price we pay today. According to the Energy Information Administration, gas prices will continue to rise by here in the summertime. However, they will decrease, and the national average will be $3.59 by 2014. For Around and About Orange County, this is Mauro Rosales Jr.
A 66-year-old Santa Ana man has been accused of raping two of his former adopted children. One of the adopted girls, now 15, told her school counselor about these alleged sex acts. Police found videos and photos of the man engaging in these sex acts with the other 17-year-old foster child. The man remains in jail, held on a $100,000 bond.
Tax season is something many OC residents look forward to, but are you aware of the new tax laws for 2013? I have the story for you.
For many, when it comes to taxes, you might as well be speaking a different language. However, when it comes to getting money back at the end of the year, we all speak the same tongue, and that is the almighty dollar. While you may or may not have filed your 2012 tax forms, there were some laws that went into effect that may very well have you learning that tax language so you can understand what it's all about.
Have all the questions ready that you need answered. Come in with the most questions. The person who's going to help you do it will gladly answer these questions for you. That is the best advice to give anyone who walks in a tax preparer's office.
There were many things that changed for the 2013 fiscal year, but here are 4 important things you will need to know what is going to change for you. A set of rules that take effective January 1st, 2013 will make shopping for healthcare insurance a completely different experience for those who buy it on their own or are uninsured today. This is the most popular part of the health reform. Health plans must sell coverage to everyone, regardless of pre-existing conditions, and can't charge more based on health or gender. However, if you don't get or have health insurance, you'll have to pay a tax penalty, starting at $95 per individual, $280 per family, or 1% of your income, whichever is greater for 2013. Since 2003, the child tax credit has been $1,000 for each qualified child of a taxpayer who is under the age of 17 at the end of the year. However, this was a temporary provision that expired at the end of 2012, and beginning in 2013, the credit will revert to $500 per child. In addition, the refundable portion of the credit will be reduced, impacting lower income taxpayers with children. One tax break that will disappear is the payroll tax cut that was passed in 2010. Roughly 160 million workers can expect to pay more payroll tax, which funds Social Security in the new year. People earning the national average salary of $41,000 will get $32 less in their biweekly paychecks. Finally, a deduction of up to $2,500 is allowed for interest paid on loans for higher education. This deduction was originally limited to the first 60 months of which the interest payments were required. Beginning in 2013, the 60-month rule returns. For more information on what tax laws change and how they will affect you, visit www.irs.gov.
Don't forget that all tax forms need to be turned in by April 15th. We hope your return is something to be excited about. 3 businesses in Orange had their windows smashed and were burglarized early Tuesday morning, according to authorities, at about 1:15 a.m. Officers responded to a business alarm on the 1600 block of East Lincoln Avenue. A beauty supply store, a wig shop, and a dentist's office in the same shopping center all had their windows smashed. The thief took off with wigs and cash registers. About $200 was stored in the register taken from the dentist's office. There were no cash in the other registers.
Picasso and Michelangelo are just a few to be named who influenced artists to use DNA for art. Alexander Avalos has the story.
I heard that the Bill Center for Art and Technology at the University of California at Irvine had a brand new exhibit, so I checked it out. Evidence Works by Pat Lanús investigates the visual qualities of DNA, and interactive performers in the gallery reveal varying aspects of DNA to take figure protocols and turn them into unique images. I got to speak with programs director Samantha Young-Hanshog about this.
Then take the DNA enzyme samples that he's set up in a specific specific order, thank you, and then we inject it into little wells that we create inside the gels. And after we set this whole experiment or art piece up, we turn on an electric volt, and then the electricity, there's a positive and negative, and the DNA is attracted to the positive volt, so it pulls the DNA like the DNA ladder across the gel, and so all these lanes together with the DNA ladders create the images.
These images are really unique. I mean, what came first, the chicken or the egg? I mean, DNA is something special. It really makes who we really are. And it's really just an art here at UCI. DNA, often looked at as a way to identify who we are. Honestly, we're all 99.9 genetically the same, but here at the Bill Center at UCI, you can take a little bit of DNA and now make a picture. Reporting to you for Roundabout Orange County News, I'm Alexander Avalos.
As always, art is subjective. With technology always changing, you can be sure this art is anything but ordinary. Authorities have discovered 30 weapons while searching through a storage unit on the 500th block of Crowther Street in Placentia. Police obtained a search warrant while investigating a man for motorcycle theft and drug dealing. The batch of weapons, some of which were stolen, includes assault rifles and machine pistols. The suspect was living in an empty business in Placentia, where police also found a stolen race bike, marijuana, heroin, and cash. Another man and his girlfriend were also residing there. All three have been arrested.